Poboy special here. This might be a little controversial, but it's okay. You can handle it. So what do I mean by a little controversial? I was watching a very large YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and mention it, I don't care. I was watching on classic firearms, and a bunch of good guys. I'm not blasting on them. That's not what this is about. There's some things that they said and they covered that I don't necessarily agree with, and I'm not going to just say, hey, I don't agree with it. I'm going to explain and give you reasons why I don't agree with it, and let you mull it over and see what you think about it. Fair enough. They were going over, the whole video was, they were going over their choices, their preferences for home or self-defense. Awesome subject, and it needs to be brought out there so people can mull it over and decide for themselves. Awesome topic. Some of the things I agreed with, some things I don't. That's why Baskin-Robbins makes 31 flavors. Not everybody's going to choose the same flavor. I get it. But the most important thing that I disagreed with was about the shotgun for home defense or self-defense. There were two gentlemen in the video. One of them, they had a top 5 list. One of them had the shotgun in their top 5 list. One of them did not. And the one of them that did not gave a bunch of reasons. Some of them valid, some of them, this is what the whole purpose of this video is about. Because obviously, if I'm making this video about it, I am an advocate, if you say, for the shotgun, for home defense, self-defense, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to lay out some reasons why. I'm going to tell you what he said and bring it out and compare and let you decide for yourself what's best for you. My situation, you say, well, the whole video was saying, okay, what's best for you? All right, I get that. The one that chose, that said yes to the shotgun that was in their top 5 was a 410 caliber shotgun, 410 gauge, if you will. Because of, if you live with a partner, significant other, whatever, and they don't like the massive recoil of a 12 gauge, 410 is a little bit less. Has the same type of damage, if you will. The spread, you can shoot slugs through it, you can shoot double-aught, you can shoot birdshot, whatever. Same as a 12 gauge. The same, just a smaller caliber, or a smaller gauge, if you will. 410 has a little less recoil, it's a little more manageable. So for some people, that is a very determining factor, is the amount of recoil of that shotgun. That's a valid point. I get that. I personally prefer the 12 gauge. For me, if I'm defending myself or my family, for me, I prefer the Texas mentality, bigger is better. That's just me. Like I said, bigger is better, bigger power, bigger hole, bigger damage. You'll find that the older you get, if you have to do something like a fight or so, you want it over as quickly as possible. You don't want to fight, you don't want to get in that skirmish for an extended period of time. So you'll find out, like within kickboxers, MMA, whatever, that they want to get it over as quickly as possible. And in order to do that, you have to strike quickly and inflict as much damage as possible right up front. To me, that's what a 12 gauge does. Very quick, a lot of damage right up front to try and get the situation over and neutralized as quickly as possible. Now, with that being said, recoil. Let's go ahead and talk about recoil. Yes, I understand what he's saying. Recoil can, and in a 12 gauge, is a determining factor to a degree, because there are certain products, certain manufacturers that can help you overcome that issue. For instance, they do make double-aught buck low recoil. They do make slugs low recoil. With that being said, that helps that situation. Now you can bring that 12 gauge back as a viable option because there are low recoil rounds available. So now that that is said, recoil now is off the table because you have lots of manufacturers that have low recoil rounds. And there's even some that have the shorter rounds that have 6 pellet instead of 9 pellet. And when you have the 6 pellet, because there's less weight, there's less recoil, because you have to, without getting all the technical stuff, the Newton law of action, equal and opposite reaction, all that, whatever. When you have 9 pellets, it's more weight. That's more weight you're pushing, that's more weight that's coming back. 6 pellet, less weight, same thing. So when you have a 6 pellet, it's less weight, less recoil than a 9 pellet or a 7 pellet or whatever. So those are also a viable option. You get the wonderful velocity of a 6 pellet, lower recoil, more manageable, more pleasant to shoot because of the felt recoil is what I'm getting. I don't want to say it's ever pleasurable to shoot in a self-defense. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a pleasure to shoot because it doesn't tear your shoulder up. That being said, low recoil. So recoil, let's take that off now because we can bring the 12 gauge back because recoil is not an issue. What other determining factors would you not choose a shotgun 12 gauge for home self-defense? And he said, well, and this is one of the issues that he brought up, let's say a pump action, not a semi-auto, pump action, that you bring it up, you shoot, and then you pull the trigger again and you're forgetting to rack or pump the action. I understand what he's saying, but therein lies the mentality. If you're going to have something, anything, it can even be a baseball bat, whatever you're going to defend yourself with, make sure that you're familiar with it, know how to use it, and practice with it. Now, I'm not saying go practice with it with your baseball bat and start swinging people and beating people up with a baseball bat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about know how to yield it, how to get it quickly in a situation in case you need it. Position it to where, strategically position it to where you can get to it quickly, wherever that may be. So I'm saying, be very familiar with it. Practice with it. You don't have to spend rounds to practice with a 12 gauge shotgun. You can you can buy one of those dummy rounds to dry fire and practice that way. Load it in, shoot it, rack it, shoot it, rack it, and just practice and simulate, if you will. But be familiar with it, have it in a strategic location, so that, heaven forbid it ever happen, and please may it never be, that if the situation arises where you have to use it in a self-defense or home defense situation, that you rely back on your training and your familiarity with it, that you know where it is, you can get to it quickly, you know how to work it, you know what to do because you've messed with it and you're familiar with it. So, the concern that he had was shoot and you keep pulling it once and then keep pulling the trigger without racking it, that's just a matter of practicing with it, being familiar with it, training with it, if you will. And that goes with anything you have. That could be a shotgun, that could be a rifle, that could be a baseball bat, a golf club, whatever you're defending yourself with. Be familiar with it, practice with it, have it in a place where you can get to it quickly should you need it. So that takes care of that comment. And one more, they mentioned, and it was kind of humorous, and I understand what they're saying, but he said that, yes, in a situation, all they hear is that racking action of a pump shotgun, and they'll go running. I ain't even going to get into that. Yes, it's a distinct sound. That has nothing to do with it. It is a cool, it's a very distinct sound. Nothing else makes a sound like it, but anyways, I ain't going to fool with that one. There is one more comment that I have left for the end, and here it is. He made the comment that with a shotgun, you don't even need to aim, you just point and shoot. And I'm going to do part B to that, is made the comment that birdshot, field load, whatever you want to call it, is a no-no, that it's not lethal. I'm going to get to that last. That's going to be part B to this one. Part A, you don't need to point and shoot. That depends. That depends. It depends on several factors. Number one, how proximity, how close or how far you are. The closer you are, the more you need to aim. And I'm going to go ahead and say with double-aught buck, because that's what I have in mind. I put double-aught buck in mind. I like double-aught buck. If you have a slug, you definitely need to aim. No getting around that. So double-aught buck. Within, depending on the round and depending on the make, manufacturer of the round, all right, double-aught buck from a, and when I'm talking, I'm talking a regular sized shotgun, no modifications, no chokes, just straight off the shelf, smooth bore, obviously for double-aught buck. That being said, when you go up front, up close and personal, yes, you need to aim, because the double-aught buck's not really spreading out. So it's pretty much concentrated in a small area. So yeah, you need to aim. When you get to probably 10 yards or more, then it starts to spread out. Anything past 15 yards and you're really starting to get a spread, your aim really isn't as crucial, because you have a lot more larger area that the buck is spreading out to. Then you get into the question, should you be shooting at that distance? That's a whole nother video, a whole nother issue to get into. And once again, my comment for that would be, it depends. Depends on where you are, the background, the situation, so on, so on, so on. And as always, disclaimer: check your local, state, federal laws before doing anything. Disclaimer. Alright, so let's get back to the double-aught buck, and do you need to aim with a shotgun? I am going to presume that when you're talking about a self-defense, home defense situation, that it's going to be a very close proximity. Whether it's a house, an apartment, or a condo, whatever, that it's going to be a fairly close distance. Rarely will you have to be a very long distance in a home situation. Possible, yes. That's why I like double-aught buck, because you have, in some, depending on your round, 9 pellets going for one shot. I also have 6 pellet. Plenty. You have 6 .32 caliber projectiles going out at one time. Awesome damage. I mean, the damage on that is just devastating. So that's why I choose double-aught buck. Slugs are tremendously effective. The amount of energy displaced is incredible. And I don't have anything against a slug. I like slugs. I just like double-aught buck because it's 6 pellet, 9 pellet as opposed to 1 projectile, which is a slug. Now we'll get to birdshot, or field load, game load, whatever you want to call it. Is it lethal? Yes. Is it lethal? Yes. Don't ever let anybody for these big old channels, oh, birdshot's not lethal, all you're going to do is piss them off. It is lethal. It is lethal. It is lethal. So, oh, what about the wintertime? They got thick, heavy leather jackets. It is lethal. It is lethal. It is lethal. I'm telling you, it's lethal. And think about this. Even if it doesn't hit a vital organ and it's a non-lethal shot, let's say an appendage, an arm, a leg, a hand, a foot, when you just get hit with a bunch, depending on the load, some loads are 1 ounce, some are 1.25 ounces. When you get hit with that much lead, fragmented little pieces of lead in an appendage, an arm, a leg, whatever, the fight just got a little bit less. You know, you're just going to get even madder and more mad and fight even harder because someone just shot you in the arm or leg. I'm going to say this, let someone shoot you in the arm or leg and see how much fight you got left in you. That's number 1. Number 2, it is lethal because at a very close range, notice what I said, very close range. Very close range, it is very lethal because you have 1 ounce or more than 1 ounce of lead coming out of the barrel almost completely intact, because birdshot doesn't start to spread till a little distance out of the barrel, but as it comes out of the barrel at first and it's still in that wadding, it's almost a slug. And as it's coming out of that wadding, when it's starting to leave that wadding, that's when it starts to spread out. So therefore, you've got 1 ounce or more of lead, just like a slug, coming out, even though it's birdshot. So like I said, a very close range, it is deadly lethal. Now, across a room, yeah, now you're getting into the not so lethal aspect, because then it starts to spread and everything. But if it's all the way across a 12, 14 foot room, yeah, I can see that. But it is still potentially lethal because you're getting small little projectiles at sometimes 12, 13, 1400 feet per second. And if it goes here or anywhere where it doesn't take much penetration to get to the brain, or a central nervous system hit, as we would say, it's lethal. So if you get a lot in this direction, it's lethal. Now, anything past that, a room or whatever, then yeah, they have a good point that it's probably not that lethal. Up close and personal, birdshot, field load, whatever you want to call it, very lethal. Very, very lethal. So don't ever let them try and persuade you that it's not. So let's wrap it up. Shotgun for home defense, self-defense? Heck yes. Yes. Or as Medea would say, hell to the yeah. Because if you watched a previous video, I showed you the versatility of the shotgun. You can go hunting with it. You can go bird hunting, dove hunting, squirrel, rabbit, whatever. You can go deer hunting with it. put in a slug. Everything else I just mentioned is, you can go geese, goose, whatever, fowl, anything you want, depending on the shot. Home defense, self-defense, my preference is double-aught buck. Some people may prefer a slug. That's fine. I like the slug. I really do. I just prefer double-aught buck. I mean, I'm shotgun for home defense. Practice with it. Have it in a safe place. Have it in a place that's readily available in case you ever need it. Heaven forbid you don't. Those are the important things. If you have it readily available and you practice with it, you know how to, you're familiar with it, and you put in low recoil rounds in case somebody you live with, a significant other, let's say a family member, a son, a daughter, whoever, aunt, uncle, cousin, whatever, has to grab it and use it to protect you, that they're not scared of it because they know that there's low recoil. It's not going to knock them into next week and tear their shoulder off. There again, I would recommend whoever's in the household with you, if there's somebody in the household with you, go out with you, shoot it with them, let them get familiar with it, because if they have to end up saving you, the important thing is they know where it is, they know how to use it, and they're not scared of it, and they're comfortable with it. That's the end of the story. Shotgun for home defense, self-defense, yes. The rest is up to you, because you saw it here on the Poboy Special channel.